Hey everybody, today I'm going to be making some blackberry wine with the blackberries I picked in my backyard. So what I've done is I've previously frozen these blackberries and I have defrosted them overnight, and now they're ready to be processed into wine. So what I'm going to be doing is putting these into a mesh bag and putting them in a primary fermenter. Alright, so you can also see that what I've done now is I've transferred my blackberries to this cleaned and sanitized mesh bag, just like I did in my other videos. Again, this is like a paint strainer bag or a nylon mesh bag. And what I've done is I've put it in that bag, and I started mashing it with a cleaned potato masher. Once I'm done mashing this, I'm going to be pouring some hot sugar water on top of it. Alright, be back. Alright, so I boiled about 2 gallons worth of water, and I just poured some of it into this bucket. And the reason I did that is to make some room for my sugar. I've got 13 pounds of sugar here, and I'm going to add that to the water and put that in. So I'm going to dissolve the sugar in this water and then add it to the bucket. Alright, so we'll be right back. Alright, here I am dissolving my sugar in the water, and I'm going to be adding that to the bucket. Now I'm going to need to boil up a little bit more water because I still have a 4-pound bag over there. So I'm going to be adding all of this to my bucket. Alright, now that I have the hot water on the berries, you see I'm almost up to I'm about at the 6-gallon mark on the bucket. I'm just going to add a little bit of cold water to this. So maybe about there. Alright, so I have some acid blend, some yeast nutrient, a little bit of tannin, and I have mixed that up together in here, and I'm going to put that in the mix and stir it in. Alright, I'm going to mix that up well, and we'll be back. Alright, so now that this has cooled down a bit, I have my 6 Camden tablets that I'm going to be adding to the must and stirring that in. That will kill any wild yeast and bacteria in this blackberry juice. Now I would go ahead and taste this juice before doing that because it tastes delicious. Alright, so I'm going to do that. I waited for the must to cool before adding that. Now all the details of this will be on my blog, but so far what we have is about 24 pounds of blackberries, 23 pounds of blackberries, water, 13 pounds of sugar, 2 tablespoons of acid blend, 2 teaspoons of yeast nutrient, and a ½ teaspoon of tannin. And now the Camden tablets. So now it's noon now. That means at midnight I'm going to be putting in the pectic enzyme. It's important to put pectic enzyme in because if you don't, you're going to end up with a pectic haze in your wine. You want your wine to be nice and shiny. So that's what I'm going to be doing. It has to be 24 hours since the Camden tablets to put the yeast in, and 12 hours from the pectic enzyme. So in 12 hours I put the pectic enzyme, and 12 hours after that I put the yeast. Alright, so stay tuned. Alright folks, it is time to put on the pectic enzyme. It's midnight, 12 hours later. There's a tablespoon, it's a half teaspoon per gallon. Put that in, stir it around. Alright, so I put the top back on. And in about 12 hours we'll be ready to put in the yeast. Alright, so we can see that we have quite a bit of sugar in here. Maybe a little bit more than I would have liked. I'm going to be adding a little bit more water later on, topping up. But as this says right here, we are around 15% alcohol that it's going to be, potentially. Alright, so since I have high sugar, I'm going to be using a yeast that has high alcohol tolerance. I'm going to be using the 118 yeast. Alright, so I'm going to set up to sprinkle the yeast. See you soon. Alright, so I have my yeast. This is special winemaking yeast, so you need to get a winemaking yeast. You can't use regular bread yeast. You will not get the results you want. And basically, I'm just going to be sprinkling it on top. Now you might think that you get better results by mixing it in. You get better results by actually letting it go on top and letting it get established just like that. It works better. If you mix it in, it takes longer to start fermentation. So if you sprinkle it on top, the other alternative would be to make a slurry. If you look at the back of the packet, it tells you how to make a yeast slurry. And then finally, every time I take the top off, I clean the bottom. So that's what I'm going to be doing now real quick. Just taking my solution, rinsing this off. And I'm going to be snapping that on top, but first I'm taking my airlock, putting this over the side and putting that on before snapping that on. But if you don't, you can push that grommet through. And then we are going to look for fermentation to start in a day or two. Alright, primary fermentation. Blackberry wine. Beautiful. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my video channel here on YouTube. And check out my blog at www.cooking-italian-recipes.com for great Italian recipes, tips on organic gardening, winemaking, and herbalism, and all other kind of fun stuff that I'm into. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. Take care.